Coleman here with Eric Chilton, Chad Silver, and Monique Robinson.
And I think we're all feeling for Monique outside today because the temperatures, they are sweltering.
We'll make this
yeah,
short for you,
that's a good word for them, Chad. Sweltering it is. You got to say it slow. You can't talk too fast. Can't do anything fast outside.
All right. You can use one of those umbrellas now instead of preventing the rain from getting on you. You can use it to protect you from the sun outside today. And we're going to get a check of the forecast with her in just a minute.
But let's jump into our top story. Davidson County School students went to school today wearing masks in classrooms. This was after board members voted unanimously yesterday at yesterday's meeting to require masks for students and staff there.
Yeah, the decision comes after nearly 400 students and staff were forced to quarantine just during the first week of school. 58 students tested positive for the virus, according to the district's website. The board will revisit the decision and case numbers in 4 weeks. Davie County students had their day back today, their first day back, and they were also wearing masks. The school board voted last week to backtrack on its plans to make masks optional. Rockingham also voted last week to reverse its rule and make masks mandatory.
Yadkin County school leaders are holding an emergency meeting tonight to discuss their COVID-19 safety protocols. Board leaders will review COVID case numbers and school policies. Right now, the district is allowing masks to be optional. That meeting is at 6, and we will let you know what comes from that meeting, both on air and online. 3 other districts in our area are continuing with optional masks at this time. Randolph, Stokes, and Wilkes County schools are allowing masks to be optional. The districts have not shared any plans to backtrack on these decisions.
The changes come as our state recorded another very high percent positive today. I circled it down there in the red, 14.7%. You can see on this graph that it's higher than any day that came before it. I actually had to go all the way back to our highest peak in January to find a number that's higher than today's. January 7th, more than 7 months ago. In fact, there were only 4 days during all of the pandemic that were higher than today's. Keep in mind, the state and county want us to be at or below this red line of 5%. We are nowhere near it anymore.
President Biden is sticking with August 31st as the deadline to finish evacuating Americans and Afghan allies from Afghanistan. The president asked his national security team to create contingency plans as a backup if an unexpected situation delays that deadline. But as of now, the U.S. will stick to that deadline. At a news conference in Kabul, the Taliban spokesman said the group will not accept any extensions of the deadline. Chief Pentagon spokesman John Kirby said the military will need several days to withdraw several thousand troops and equipment, but the deadline is enough time to evacuate all Americans. Kirby did not comment on when all at-risk Afghans would be evacuated.
All right, now time to your 4 to 5 roundup. First up, Pfizer's vaccine now has full FDA approval for anyone 16 or older. To get there, Pfizer had to provide the FDA with 6 months worth of safety data on its vaccine and show the manufacturing site could make a quality vaccine consistently. The FDA said it reviewed updated data from clinical trials involving 40,000 subjects. More than half were followed for at least 4 months. Another 12,000 were followed for 6 months. The FDA says the vaccine is proven 91% effective. A school district east of here is now requiring all teachers to get vaccinated. Orange County Schools says teachers have 30 days to get the vaccine. The new mandate comes after Pfizer's full vaccine approval by the FDA. The school board chair says the vaccine will be a term of employment. They won't know how many teachers have already been vaccinated until next week. The company that owns and operates Block 43 apartments in Greensboro says it's still working to fix problems in some of its units. Varsity Campus says it has workers on site answering questions and concerns from parents and students. You'll remember students have complained of poor conditions and lack of response from Varsity Campus. Students sent us photos of mold, damage, and other problems when they first moved in. Some students were put in hotels and others canceled their leases completely. In a statement today, Varsity Campus said, as of today, residents that were temporarily placed in hotels that we assigned and paid for due to apartments not being cleaned or move-in ready have been completed, and residents have been moved into their units. There are a few residents that we recently placed in hotels because their HVAC units stopped working over the past week, and we did not want them to be uncomfortable in this heat while our HVAC vendors await parts and get the air conditioning running. The company says renovations to other units should be finished by Friday.
AC is surely enough a necessity as we go over the next several days. This is a shot of Randleman, North Carolina. We're not seeing the heat, but folks down there are certainly seeing it. This drone video from some of our photographers here at the station really getting to see an oasis of blue skies, not even a cloud in sight on this drone video. Now, the trouble here is when you don't see clouds and you just have sky cover full with sunshine, all that does is bake the air and really allow temperatures to climb. But guess what? We're not the only folks complaining about the heat here in the Triad. I mean, take a look at much of the southeast. These are the feels like temperatures. They're in the triple digits in some locations. And again, heat advisories, heat watches, excessive heat has been issued for those areas. Not seeing that here at home, but that doesn't mean it isn't hot or it doesn't feel like it. I mean, take a look at these numbers. 96 is what it feels like right now in Greensboro. 96, another 96. Now, as we look towards the mountains, a little bit cooler there, higher elevation, not allowing for as much warmer temperatures that we're seeing elsewhere. But again, the numbers across the board very hot as of now. The dew points also riding on that oppressive range. I mean, you really can't feel the difference. It does feel extremely hot and humid outside. Extended period times outside are surely enough should be avoided, especially as we go into the day tomorrow, because expecting another round of this. Now, days in the 90s, so far we've seen 8 of them, including today. Last year we had 11 days, and I'm forecasting more of them coming up this weekend.
Well, after that forecast, you may like this news, but summer is coming to an end, and guess what? We will no longer have those 8 p.m. sunsets until April. Now, that means fall is on its way, and it has a lot of people talking on social media. Let's start out with Emily. She says, I'm so ready for cooler weather and fall colors, but I'll miss longer days. I hate when it gets dark at 5:30. Rob says, forget fall and early sunsets, he laughs. Nisi said, I love the cold weather, just dislike the getting dark early part. I agree with that. Michelle said, just ready for fall. Steven says, so ready for these 90-degree days and humidity to go away. And Janet says, love it. Can't wait till it gets dark at 5 o'clock. Brenda says, love the change in seasons. And Gail Hill says, I'm sad already. Love those long summer daylight hours there. Jessica says, it makes my heart happy. I love colder weather and early sunsets. Like it or not, it's kind of the way it works, isn't it? But I agree with, I don't like when it gets dark earlier, but well, I did when I used to work the morning shift, I can tell you that much. But I don't like it, but I do love fall temperatures in North Carolina.
I always get sad around this time of year when it starts to leave us, and I think about, it's too hot right now.
Yeah.
Every day is too hot right now.
Too hot.
But I would have this day over any December, January day, hands down, every day of the year. So I think about that when I decide that, I'm sad that the days are leaving us.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss the longer days, but fall, it is my favorite season. I get to pull out my high boots, my jeans, my cute little sweaters, and drink everything pumpkin. I'm one of those girls.
Yeah.
Well, talk about the high boots. I'm gonna be out here with my weather forecast with my
Yes.
high boots, so I'm excited to show off my shoe fashion for the winter season.
It will be nice that you don't break a sweat immediately when you step outside.
Exactly.
I know for a lot of women, they talk about their hair and how their hair gets frizzy in the humid weather. So
The hair, the makeup, it's just too much. It's too much.
it will be here before we know it. Only a couple of days till Christmas, right?
A couple.
About 6.
6.
Some people
Get
are
ahead of
already
yourself.
starting to play
Get a little
the
ahead of yourself.
All right. What's your favorite type of weather? Let us know on Facebook. We're there right now. We'll see you soon.
The FDA has given full approval to Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. Next on the FDA's to-do list is talking about booster shots for everyone.
If that happens, President Biden says it would be open to everyone by next month. Now, you'd only be able to get the booster 8 months after you were fully vaccinated. Our Verified team explains why medical experts are suggesting that 8-month waiting period.
It's all about keeping that protection as high as possible. We know that the best thing to protect you from the virus is the vaccine, but medical experts have started to notice that protection starts to weaken after 6 months. And this is a way to stay ahead of it, especially as those stronger variants keep popping up. Why is the federal government recommending booster shots after 8 months? Our sources are the U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy, Dr. Anthony Fauci, CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky, and these 3 studies. Throughout the pandemic, health officials have monitored the level of protection the vaccines offer.
Data we're seeing from our international colleagues, specifically and especially Israel, have demonstrated a worsening of infections amongst vaccinated people over time.
But, and listen closely, that number of infections did not increase near the level it does for unvaccinated people. Still, health officials believe booster shots would offer more protection over time. When asked why we need them 8 months after the second dose, here's what the Surgeon General said.
We did see that around the 6-month mark in the data, you start to see increases in mild to moderate infection.
According to the experts, immunity doesn't fall off in 6 months or even 8 months, but the goal from here on out in the pandemic is to stay ahead of the virus.
If you wait for something bad to happen before you respond to it, you find yourselves, you're considerably behind your real full capability of being responsive.
President Biden is calling on more employers to require employees to get vaccinated now that the Pfizer vaccine is FDA approved to Americans 16 and up. So far, we have seen the U.S. military make vaccines mandatory for active duty troops. The federal government is requiring employees to get the shot or get tested regularly. And President Biden recently announced a mandate for nursing home staff to get the vaccine in order for facilities to receive federal funds.
If you're a business leader, a nonprofit leader, a state or local leader who has been waiting for full FDA approval to require vaccinations, I call on you now to do that. Require it. Do what I did last month. Require your employees to get vaccinated or face strict requirements.
Moderna plans to submit its application for full FDA approval this month. Johnson & Johnson is currently gathering data for 2 doses and plans to file for full approval sometime this year. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
Alrighty then, so I'm back with more talk about weather, and I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it seems as though the 90s aren't giving us a relief for the next couple of days. Right now in High Point, 94 degrees. That dew point sitting at an uncomfortable 74. Taking a look outside though, you can see those fair weather cumulus clouds there, as well as a similar picture as we look towards Greensboro. The temperature at 91 though, just slightly cooler, but the dew point's kind of making it all feel a nasty same. Our radars looking mostly dry, but if you zoom in really closely on Guilford County, there is this very small shower that sort of made its way through, crossing and moving now in the southwestern direction, heading right now toward 421. So again, this is the only real cell that I'm popping up on our radar. Elsewhere, staying dry. Zooming out to that wider view of eastern U.S., you can see much of the activity well down to our south, and then as we look towards the northwest, but overall much of the east coast is dry now, a much different picture than we saw yesterday and even the day before, all due to Henri. High pressure is building in from the offshore community, right? So we have that Bermuda high. That's the one during the summertime that pumps in the tropical air and moisture. That's why we're going to be stuck in these 90s. As long as that thing stays close by, we're going to be feeling the heat, the sultry conditions, the icky weather. We're going to be feeling it close to home. I know you see that cold front not too far away. That's going to be sagging a little bit further south as we go into the weekend, and sometime next week we could see a greater chance of showers and storms, but again, it doesn't drop further south enough to really give us a widespread shower chance. That full 7 days showing it all there. Again, I increased shower chances a little bit going into the start of next week, but overall the 90s are the big story here.
Brilliant idea for a product, but the problem is, where do you manufacture it? Oh, are you not hearing me? I am on. Hello, can you hear me now?
I'm going to stand closer to you because it's my microphone, okay?
Maybe you should just read it, Chad.
All right, I'm close.
You have that brilliant idea for a product, but the problem is, where do I manufacture it? It can be very expensive. The Nussbaum Center for Entrepreneurship comes into play. Their new expansion project will help local manufacturers get started without all the overhead. Now, they're called ghost kitchens, and they're called that because they will transform this huge warehouse space into a game changer for these people that might have that next big food item.
The best part about a ghost kitchen is the amount of money that you have to invest. If you want to start a restaurant or a catering company and you're looking at investing in a brick and mortar facility, you know, $150,000 is probably the minimum investment to get in. With a ghost kitchen, it's 200 to 300 square feet private kitchen space. There's a monthly fee to be in these kitchen. All of the equipment is provided for you. It allows you to test concept. You don't have to worry about any front of house staff, and most importantly, you don't have to worry about upkeep or maintenance on a facility.
So the new facility is not just for food manufacturing. They'll also have room for entrepreneurs to make really any object they want to make.
Production line, they don't have a place to go. So again, testing their concept. They can purchase a building that's too small, which they will then grow out of and require them to move. And when they move, they have to shut down production, which means no revenue is generated during that time. Or they have to purchase a building that's too big for them and they have to grow into it. So with our manufacturing incubator, it allows them to rent only the amount of space that they need. And as their business grows, they just expand into the space next to them.
So thanks to Chad, by the way,
Yeah.
for mic
guest
assistance. For a little love from Chad.
You know, I get by with a little help from my friends, right?
It's always me. Yeah, so this is pretty cool because it takes the cost away. You know, when these places are looking, which by the way, this is just a side note, Chad, you'll love this. When we were doing that interview, I'm going to save this clip. They're called ghost kitchens. Oh, okay. I mistakenly called it a ghost chicken, and she died laughing. No. We edited that out, but it was very funny. We'll show it online. But it allows people not to have to pay $200,000 to make a kitchen or a manufacturing space. They rent it from them.
And that's very helpful because I was reading that a lot of these smaller businesses fail within the last
right.
first 5 years because of the expenses and then also just the emotional stress that comes with it all. So this will definitely help them to get that jump start that they need.
And honestly, I was so worried about his microphone that I wasn't even listening to what your story. So I don't even have anything to add. I'm really sorry.
At least you're being honest.
So funny.
I mean,
Yeah, I was
Hey,
like, could I just throw something in there?
I appreciate you just walking up casually, let me borrow your microphone.
got a kick out of that one.
Yeah.
I think on that note, we'll go to break.
All right.
Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. We're coming right back.
Sometimes we may feel as if we can get through life on our own, but solving problems on our own isn't always the best answer. Coach Lamont talks about the importance of keeping others in our corner in today's U-Day moment.
It's not good for any of us to walk through life alone. We all need someone to walk with us, or else who would be there to pick us up if we fall? There is no doubt that many relationships can be complex. And oftentimes, when a fence shows its face, we tend to draw back and isolate ourselves. It's easy to embrace the thought that we don't need someone or that we can make it through life alone. I've been there, suggesting to myself, I don't need nobody else but God. Have you ever said that? Never allow a fence to be stronger than your relationships. If you value the relationship, choose to grow through the offense. This will only make the relationship stronger. If the offense is too deep, choose to forgive and move on. When evaluating any relationship, remember this: some for a season, some for a reason, and some for a lifetime. This is Coach Lamont reminding you to have your best U-Day. I'll see you tomorrow.
Best U-Day. I love how he says that. But yeah, some people are only in your life for a season. I say that all the time, but you know, there are some relationships worth fighting for. No relationship is perfect. Like, you're gonna fight with your siblings, you're gonna fight with your parents, things like that. And what I found is when repairing those relationships, they really do become stronger and you're just more appreciative of the relationship at hand.
That's what I was about to say is I think conflict has a purpose.
Yeah.
That, it helps to define how you're going to handle conflict in the future, but it also, there's always a lesson embedded in conflict, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, on a very light example, Chad just showed us how we need a friend.
Yes,
that's right.
That's a great
Exactly.
example. You can always have someone to lean on.
Yeah,
like
literally.
Literally.
Truly one of the funniest things that's happened with Chad in a long time. He's laughing over there. Well, and the other thing, this is a total side thing, but I'm going to tell you, every time we watch the U-Day segments, I can't but stop looking at his decoration.
Yes.
His house is so nice it loses me sometimes.
And we see every room for different segments, the bathroom, the living room, the kitchen. It's a really nice house.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's doing it right.
Yep.
That's all
He
I know.
was chilling so hard. I was like, I really wish I was in AC like that right now.
Oh.
I know that feeling, maybe. I know that feeling. All right, much more of the 4 to 5 straight ahead. Maybe Chad will help me out with my microphone again. You never know around this place. We'll
Come
be
join
right
us
back.
on Facebook.
Mic check, Jalen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
Good afternoon.
Well, Eric, it was supposed to be your toss, but
Well, it said Lauren in the prompter, so I thought some things had changed. I was like, well, in case you haven't noticed, this is the 4 to 5, and this is the way it goes here.
Tuesday's feeling like a Friday right now.
it is
Right.
like everybody's like halfway asleep. We need to wake up.
So you know all the people around here, right? This is Lauren Coleman,
Hi,
Monique
everybody.
Robinson, Eric Chilton. I'm Chad Silber. We have a lot going on in this half hour, a lot going on in the last half hour too. Somehow we made it through, but we're going to check on the forecast in just a bit.
Yes, a bit, but we do have an update. A High Point woman facing a second-degree murder charge is expected to appear in court this afternoon. Police say Bria Askew left a person with cerebral palsy in a hot car for hours. Officers say the person was in Askew's car when it happened, and they arrested her yesterday. Investigators say the heat and humidity contributed to the person's death. The victim had a temperature of more than 110 degrees when they died at the hospital. We are following this developing story, and we'll let you know what happens today in court.
Meantime, Winston-Salem police say a 61-year-old woman was asleep in her bed when a stray bullet pierced her wall, killing her. Police say a 15-year-old is responsible for the shooting that killed Donna Blackman early Sunday morning on East 14th Street. Because the suspect is a minor, we don't know much about them, but we do know they are in custody.
Alrighty then, it's been a minute since I've talked about the tropics, but that doesn't mean they're not busy. I mean, Airy was the last big storm we talked about, but it looks as though things are stirring up to get a little bit busier even now. This is the current look at our tropical satellite, where we now have 3 systems that are just being watched, none of which have a name to them, not even a tropical depression. But again, we are watching 3 systems now, and you can see one of which does have a high chance of potentially becoming the next tropical depression. And then we do have another system a little bit closer to that Gulf, kind of tracking very similar to where Grace was just about a week ago. Now, zooming in a little bit closer to that one area of disturbance that has a 70% chance of development over the next 5 days, could be potentially that next tropical depression. You can see not really looking organized just quite yet, still just looking like a cluster of thunderstorms. But again, the conditions in which this area of low pressure is moving into are conducive, very likely that it could become the next tropical depression. This system here, just about 100 or so miles from the Leeward Islands, the same area that's been keep seeing tropical activity over the last several weeks, getting this cluster of thunderstorm once again. And models are showing this particular system tracking over the Yucatan Peninsula, the same area that got extensive rainfall from Grace just about a week ago. So again, keeping a close eye on this one, as this system does have, this area of disturbance, does have a 60% chance of development over the next 5 days. We are nearing the peak of the season, and we could be seeing the next name, and that is Ida. So again, we don't have any actual areas of disturbance that have been tagged either as a tropical depression or a tropical storm yet, but we could see it soon. More details on the forecast at home coming up.
All right, this is big news for college sports fans in North Carolina, really all across the country here. Commissioners of 3 of the Power 5 conferences, including the ACC Commissioner Jim Phillips, announced a newly formed alliance between the conferences. WFNY News 2's Jalen Gilkey breaks down how this will sweeten some of the matchups in the future. Jalen?
Yeah, guys, and college sports as we know it could be changing with today's announcement. Commissioners from the ACC, Big Ten, and Pac-12 all announced the 3 conferences will form what's called the Alliance. They say the goal of the Alliance is to create new interconference matchups in football, both men's and women's college basketball. They also want to enhance opportunities for student athletes and to improve college athletics experience for student athletes and fans. In football, these 3 conferences will add more exciting matchups, showcasing their top programs from each conference on a national stage. The conferences agree they still want to keep the classic rivalries we've all grown to know and love. And for women's and men's basketball, the Alliance will add early and mid-season games for all 41 universities represented. Plus, there will be annual premier matchups between the best of these 3 conferences. As for now, there is no timetable for when the schedule changes will take place. The Alliance's main goal is to do what they can to showcase their student athletes on a national level and to help grow their fan bases of their respective schools.
So it was interesting when I saw this today earlier, I was going, at first I thought they were making some super conference, and I was like, that can't happen. But it is interesting that at least we'll be able to play some of the teams from the other conferences.
Yeah, and as of right now, things are still a little murky as to what this actually will mean for college sports. But what it does look like, there will be more matchups from the better programs from each of these conferences in order to compete and keep these conferences aligned together.
It's interesting. I think we're going to see this for a long time where these conference realignments, they've been talking about that a lot lately, where the ACC may completely change or become another conference. I don't know how it's going to happen, but this makes me feel a little nervous, like we're getting to the point where they're going to be just 4 major conferences in the whole country or something.
Yeah, recently there was reports that the Big 12 will be losing Oklahoma and Texas coming up in 2025. And I think this alliance was kind of formed to prevent something like that from happening in the future.
Well, we'll keep you posted if we hear more. Chad?
All right, we pride ourselves on keeping you up to date on the important headlines, right? So we knew we had to tell you that it's National Waffle Day. People on social media are sharing some of their favorites, and ooh, are they good. Our first user shared a photo of Belgian waffles with brown sugar, cinnamon, strawberries, blueberries, and whipped cream. Josh says when it's National Waffle Day and your wife loves waffles, you take her out for waffles. It's pretty simple, folks. Another user shared a photo of a waffle sandwich with bacon, eggs, sausage, and cheese. Deborah is having what she calls glitter waffles. Oh, I guess that's just kind of sprinkles on top. Looks pretty good. Another person said a favorite go-to brunch is chicken and waffles. That is my absolute favorite. Someone else shared this Parks and Rec featuring Amy Poehler's character Leslie Knope saying, "We need to remember what's important in life. Friends, waffles, and work. Or waffles, friends, and work. It doesn't matter, but work is the third." Doug the Pug posted a photo wearing a Waffle House hat saying he was clocking into work on the busiest day of the year. Silly dog. And we have to ask, do you prefer pancakes or waffles? I just want to go back to that picture of
the dog.
I think Doug might need to lay off the waffles a little bit. He was so funny. That was a great picture.
That was good. I actually vote pancakes.
Oh, really?
Okay, all right.
Okay.
You know,
To be the
I don't even really like breakfast, honestly.
Really?
Nah, not really.
I could eat breakfast for lunch,
too.
dinner. I'm more of a French toast person, but
Ooh,
I'll
French
take
toast is
the
good.
waffles over the
I like
pancakes.
chicken and waffles too.
Yeah, I love chicken and waffles from Dames. I always get the blueberry waffle with the strawberry schmear and the panko crusted chicken.
Sounds fancy.
Okay.
Clearly,
coming.
I've been there once.
Yeah, right. It's number 4 on the menu.
I just love all of it. Okay, so if you had to pick, did you guys, so when I grew up, to make pancakes more enticing, my mom would put chocolate chips in them.
Yeah.
Is that something that
Yep.
other people did?
My
too,
My
or-
parents would sometimes put the little blueberries in it, or put a
Blueberries.
little bit of vanilla extract in there, and it.
That's
And
the
some
key.
cinnamon.
That's a trick.
I
It
think
is. It is.
I think
Monique's
the
right.
best
That is
part
the-
of having waffles or pancakes is the fresh fruit going on top. If you don't have the fresh
Probably
fruit
true.
on top, then I don't want it.
Did you guys ever, when I think I just had a weird childhood. We would take pancakes.
You just answered a
and-
lot of questions.
With cheese on top of them.
No, we would take cheese. That would make sense
Ugh.
for Wisconsin.
Cheese.
No, and we would
No.
roll them up with cinnamon and brown sugar inside, and eat them like a
burrito?
taquito. Or something.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say put like a sausage in the middle or something.
Oh, that would be good too.
Yeah.
All right,
All right. Now I'm really hungry. We're gonna go to break.
Let's have waffles for dinner.
We'll be right back. Stay there. Look at him.
Oh my God!
Poor
It's Doug
Doug.
the
Looks like a
Pug.
person.
Doug looks like he's not happy that he ate at Waffle House.
It's so good.
Waffle House does have good potatoes.
Okay, Chilton, I need you to interview Doug the Pug.
I could just imagine his voice right now. I was like, that was some really good waffles.
And look at the picture, like the profile picture. It's Doug wearing a birthday hat, eating an ice cream cone.
So
Little
much personality.
Dougie.
I love.
If you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, go to Doug the Pug's Instagram page. No, I'm just kidding. We're still laughing about that. We have the answer for you. It's time for the 11th annual Bud Break Festival in Mount Airy. The festival takes over downtown every year, and it literally draws in people from miles around. This year, organizers say there's even more for people who love good food and drinks, and even arts and crafts.
There's some great arts and crafts vendors. We also have some wonderful food trucks. 13 Bones will be out here. Also, a lot of our Main Street restaurants will be providing food also. So it's a really good festival for everybody because you provide something for everyone to see and come and do with all the different varieties of crafters, vendors that are on the street, along with the 15 wineries for the wine tastings.
And in addition to food and drinks, Jessica says this year's entertainment lineup is one of the most eclectic they've ever had.
So we've got Will Jones that will be taking stage here during the festival, so we're excited about that. And then also the full weekend, we've got the Hampton Inn Mount Airy is offering packages, so you can get your lodging, your transportation provided to downtown. And also we've got 2 concerts going on at the amphitheater, which is just a few blocks from the festival, with some great music over there. Cassette Rewind, which is an 80s band, on Saturday night, and some beach music on Friday night.
Okay, so I asked you on my Facebook page, what is your favorite local festival each year? And here's what you had to say. Steven said, always wanted to go to Mayberry Days. He hasn't been up to Mount Airy for that. He said, I don't know if that's considered a festival, but it is, Steven. Either way, that's my wish. Jenny said, I love the North Carolina Comedy Festival in Greensboro. Bobby Odom, a regular in our Facebook room, says the Barbecue Festival in Lexington, North Carolina. And Alan said, I love the North Carolina Food Truck Festival. That's in Randleman every year. You know, there's so many around here, it's hard for me to really choose one.
I am all about the Lexington Barbecue Festival.
I was just about to
My
say.
favorite, #1, hands down.
Because I haven't been to any local festivals since I've been here, but in Memphis we had the Barbecue Fest. Always look forward to it, trying the different food at the different tents. So Lexington sounds like the move.
And so I know, Chilton, you were talking about going to Mount Airy, and you know, if I ever spent an extended period of time in Mount Airy, I would want to go with you. Because I feel like you would give us the VIP tour.
Yes.
Behind the scenes.
Right.
That's what I'll do.
But then I'm also afraid that maybe we wouldn't get very far because everybody would be stopping you to talk to you.
No. That's only when the guy that and I can't now, his name is slipping my mind, but the guy that plays Barney Fife in the Mayberry Days festivals there, that guy is like, everybody knows him and stops him. You want to go with a real celebrity in Mount Airy, that's the guy.
You promised me a trip.
We'll do that. We will absolutely do that. Actually, I think the 3 of us should go.
Yeah.
And document it.
Should we take the show on the road?
Yes. And Doug the Pug will go with us. All of us together.
We'll meet him at the Waffle House.
That's exactly what we do.
Yeah, from one restaurant to another, Starbucks is ready for fall. The company released its signature fall drinks, including, of course, the pumpkin spice latte. Other items include the pumpkin cream cold brew, pumpkin cream cheese muffin, and pumpkin scone. There's another new item on the menu, the apple crisp macchiato. Share your favorite part of fall on our Facebook live stream. I know that you had already mentioned pumpkin anything.
Pumpkin anything, pumpkin spice latte, hot chocolate, pumpkin candles. I'm all about that stuff.
What was the macchiato? That sounded really good.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
I don't know. I just read it. What
the
apple crisp macchiato.
Man. Well, see, that's what I'm talking about, right?
Wow. There. And look at Doug the Pug made a return.
Wait, where? Oh, there he is. Doug. Poor
I mean,
Doug.
this guy is incredible.
I just love how his tongue is just like hanging out there.
He wants some pumpkin spice latte. So do you like all pumpkin spice, all everything?
Yeah, I like pumpkin spice stuff. I even like pumpkin pie, the candle scent. I really think it should be a year-round thing, not just seasonal, because I could drink it all times of the year.
It is good. I will not lie. But I like to keep it, you know, where it's seasonal, so then you look forward to it. It's like the milkshakes. What's the Chick-fil-A, the peach milkshakes they have? That kind of thing? Yes.
Or the watermelon shake that you like.
I know. I have exactly 1 week until it's gone.
Well, I haven't tried it yet, so we'll go together.
Okay, we'll have to do it later this week.
Add that to our list of trips that never happened.
That haven't happened yet.
Never happened.
They're gonna happen. Bucket list trips.
We'll work on that.
We're gonna go to break. We'll be right back. There he is, Doug the Pug. Look at that guy.
I'm so full of waffles.
Girl Scouts Carolina's Peaks to Piedmont is currently forming troops and recruiting new leaders for the fall. I spoke with CEO Jennifer Wilcox about what participants can expect for the upcoming season. Building girls of courage, confidence, and character who make the world a better place. That's the mission of Girl Scouts of the United States of America. Jennifer Wilcox, CEO of Girl Scouts Carolina's Peaks to Piedmont, says the organization serves 40 counties in western and central North Carolina.
During the fall, we really push to bring those new members back and to bring our returning girls back as the school year gets rolling and as folks get into sort of that regular cadence of schedule after the summer break.
All girls in grades K through 12 are invited to join dozens of information events to learn more about activities being offered.
We have opportunities for our girls to engage in service, in civics, in robotics, in coding, in outdoor adventure.
Due to COVID-19, spring activities were held virtually, but Wilcox says there will be face-to-face opportunities in the fall.
So incorporating that virtual piece as a hybrid into our overall program array is something that we're really excited about and something that we think will make our program offerings even richer to the girls we serve.
Girl Scouts P2P is also looking for volunteers and troop leaders as well, so I'll have all the details about registration and information events on our website.
Such a great organization, all the Scouts. You know, I mean, a lot of my friends, you know, who have made it all the way through even the highest level of Scouts, they're always so organized and disciplined and well-rounded, and that's why I was a Scout dropout.
Yeah, I was a Girl Scout myself for a few years through elementary school and middle school, and it's such a great organization, and I love that they're doing this hybrid model because Wilcox was saying they were actually able to reach more girls, some who actually couldn't make the in-person activities even prior to the pandemic. So this is really cool that they're doing that.
Yeah, that's great. I made it up to Cub Scouts. I guess I just wasn't good enough to be a Boy Scout, but I made it to Cub Scouts, and I always enjoyed when you get the patches for all the different things. I mean, it really made you work towards something, and such a structured group.
I am so not an outdoorsy person, and I remember my 4th grade teacher pulling me out in the hall and discussing with me why I should not quit Scouts, and I was like, I hate campouts, I can't do it, and so I had to do it. I felt so bad.
But again, we do have all that details for any of those young ladies out there interested in joining. It'll be on our website.
That's right. Monique.
Alrighty then, so I know a lot of folks have been saying, I just can't wait till fall, and so I looked up when is fall exactly going to be starting. Now, the autumnal equinox is September 22nd, and that's when we transition into the fall officially, according to astronomy. So that means we have 29 more days. I was so excited, not 29 days left of summer. 29 more days until fall, whichever way you want to look at it. And that means 93 days until Thanksgiving. Just wanted to give some exciting news because a lot of folks are kind of tired of hearing about more heat, but it's in store even for tomorrow. Even a slightly greater chance for pop-up showers and storms for the latter part of the day. I definitely encourage you to remain hydrated, drinking your water over the next several days, again, because the 90s are still in the forecast. Taking a look at this futurecast fairly quickly, the afternoon does show a greater chance of pop-up showers and storms. Still not a widely scattered event, but definitely in the forecast. And here's one last look at that 7-day for this 4 p.m. hour. So you can see the 90s, I mean, they aren't letting up. The only chance of change we see here is when it comes to those showers and storm chances. Now, the good things about showers when they do roll through your area, especially through the summertime, and more specifically even storms, they leave behind rain cooled air, so you do get slight relief after a shower or storm does move through your area. And I'm looking towards the start of next week featuring more of those.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5, it is the second day of school for Guilford County Schools, and parents are already frustrated with transportation issues. Some parents claim they waited in line for an hour to pick up their students. We're digging deeper into how long parents may be dealing with these issues this year. That's next at 5. Excessive heat and humidity. Police said the victim was brought to the hospital with an extremely elevated temperature of more than 110 degrees.
Hello, Panda the dog has been found. That is the lead story today.
Oh. Hi there, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina.
My thing about it, whenever I would see it, I'm like, man, I wonder if they're
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where am I standing?
Somebody's pet and something happened like that.
Okay.
He goes, no, let's get it in there. And I was like,
hey, mic check. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4.
Who was that? Mic check 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So it's time for my 2 cents, and today I'm going to complain about myself and everyone else that does this, which, look, I'm in the same boat with all of you when I talk about this. The things we give up for the sake of convenience in our lives. So I was reading an article in Forbes magazine. This philosopher said he was really concerned how quickly people will give up control for convenience. And at first I was thinking, wait, what is he talking about? Well, then he went on and, he said consumers talk about it all the time. None of us, Tanya Rivera reminds us of this all the time. You have to be careful with your data. You want your data to be private and you don't want your information out there. I'm guilty of this. How many of you read a user agreement when you sign up for an app? You just click the box and move on and keep going, right? We don't read it. There was this telecommunications company that did a poll and they said that if they offered a 15% discount on internet service, consumers were willing to give away their browsing data for that convenience. In fact, 98% of the people said they would give away that valuable information to save 15%. It all comes back to reading, doesn't it? If you're around my age group, you may remember commercials and when you were growing up that said, reading is fundamental. I think about it now. It's true. You just need to read a user agreement or read what you're signing, what you're agreeing to before you do it. I know men, we don't read. Women are smarter, man. Women read novels all the time. Men go, are there pictures? And if they're not, then they're not reading it. Guilty as charged. But it all goes back to that, doesn't it? A lot of our answers to problems in our lives go back to the fundamentals, and it's reading. So start reading before you click yes on anything. But that's just my 2 cents. And that's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
It's the second day of classes for Guilford County Schools, and it's another day of long lines of car after car after car beyond the eye can see. Some parents say they waited for more than an hour.
WFMY News 2's Jenna Kurzina talked to parents at Simpkins Elementary in Greensboro who are fed up.
Lauren and Julie, this is just one example of those many phone calls we've been getting from